committee last week, one of the issues that came up was just addressed by the legislators. The fact that the county would put itself at risk for the $770,000 contract here. And I guess at this point I was asked for a clarification as to what are the stipulations of the grant. Because during that committee meeting I was under the impression that we had an obligation to fundraise or to somehow come up with about $5 million by August of 2009 in order to receive the grant. Is that one of the stipulations that you refer to in this grant?
Through the President, no, that is not one of the stipulations of the grant.
Through the President, then is there an obligation for the county to come up with $5-point-something million in order for this project to go forward?
Through the President, the main stipulation in the grant, besides the one that I alluded to about the capital bank account earlier, is the combination of the two facilities together. That's the main stipulation and the ultimate completion date of September 2010.
Okay. And through the President, does the county have an obligation to come up with $5-point-something million for this project to go forward?
Through the President, the obligation is to complete the facility and provide financing by September 10th of 2000, or by September of 2010.
Through the President, is there an obligation to raise some amount of money by August of 2009?
Through the President, no.
Through the President, what is the county's obligation to raise by August of 2010?
Through the President, the obligation would be to provide funding for the $5 million portion of the project that is not grant related or grant reimbursable.
And through the President, that has to be accounted for by August of 2010, is that correct?
Through the President, September 2010, in order to complete the facility. I think the August 2090 that's been referred to in committees was an incorrect date at this time.
Okay. Through the President, why are we privately fundraising for this project?
Through the President, there is an interest from some nonprofit organizations in the community to assist with this project to make sure that it gets completed at the lowest possible cost to the county.
Through the President, the fundraising plan that was presented in response to our questions that were submitted last week is very vague. I wonder if you could elaborate on the fundraising plan for this project to raise the $5 million.
Through the President, that would be a question more appropriately directed towards the nonprofit agencies involved in the fundraising efforts. The county's responsibility is to fund the other $5 million of the program, and if we can receive donated funds to do that, we would absolutely use them at this point.
So at this point, is there any risk that this project will not be built?
Through the President, no.
And through the President, is there any reason why we're not bonding the full $5.5 million at this point in time for this project?
Through the President, the initial bonding resolution that you approved in December was for planning and design of $1 million, and that's all we need at this particular point in time. I believe once bids are left, we would come back to be able to phrase or put our arms around what the dollar amount would be for the next bonding resolution to ultimately back to the cost of the project.
Okay, and just following up on the question I asked earlier, because I was slightly confused by the date change now. just so I'm clear, if I understand correctly, there's no risk that this project will not be built, and there's no risk then that the county is going to expend $770,000 on a contract for a project that's not going to be built, is that correct?
Through the President, it would be impossible for me to say with no uncertainty that there's no risk to this project, but based on the analysis that we've performed at this point, this project would be moving forward to completion by September of 2010.
And, okay, and one more final question regarding the construction. Will this project be built with the green building standards?
Through the President, that is correct. It will be built with the green building technologies, and we will be working with LEEDs. It's a LEED certified project.
Thank you.
Legislator Daniel.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you, Mr. President, just a point of clarification on the answer given to Legislator Hannah. What we're asking here is to enter into a contract for $770,000 for design and engineering. And Legislator Hannah asked if for some reason this were not to be built, would we be on the hook and owe $770,000? It was my understanding that we wouldn't be on the hook for the full amount because depending at what stage of planning and architectural, we would only be on the hook for as far as we get into that contract. Is that correct? And are there any penalties for canceling the contract if we get to that point?
Through the President, you're correct in your assessment, and there are no penalties without completing the project.
Thank you.
Legislator Edmonds.
Thank you, Mr. President. To pick up from where Legislator Andrews left off on the LEED standards. Now, in August 14th of 2007, I stood behind with great zeal the adoption of the green building policy for new construction and major renovations in Monroe County. And it says that building practices will be implemented to the greatest extent practical for all new county construction, major renovations, etc. Being who I am and what I've been fighting for over the past 3 years, I don't think it goes far enough, and we should go for the silver standard. But are we going to shoot for, at the very least, a standard above the basic LEED standard on this project?
Through the President, we will be shooting for the LEED silver standard.
Thank you very much. I hope we do meet that.
Legislator Andrews.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, or Mr. President, and through to the administration. What's the plan if the fundraising effort is unsuccessful?
Through the President, would be to raise the funds through a bonding resolution to ultimately backstop the project.
Thank you. And one final question. Can you please tell me who are the not-for-profits that are starting this fundraising effort?
Through the President, SPCC.
Sorry, I don't know what that stands for.
Through you, Mr. President, as the Society for the Protection and Care of Children.
Thank you.
Legislator Clark.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Through you to the administration, I appreciate the efforts that we're making in reaching out to the charitable organizations, charitable community to help offset the cost of this project to the taxpayers. And I have an understanding of how centralizing this foster care program is going to help not just the people in the foster care program and the parents involved, but also the county from a financial perspective. My concern is, my question is, in the absence of any charitable